Let's start. Oh,
Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Kris Bursuc. And this is really a nice name, and I trained so much to pronounce it properly. How are you doing today?
hello. I'm doing great. Bursuc. That's how it's spelled. Yeah, correct.
Thank you for saying yes to this podcast interview. I feel honored. We met on TikTok, and I like to introduce you to the audience a little bit. Okay, you help small and medium businesses uncover key opportunities and overcome constraints through focused consultations. By providing clear, actionable plans, you transform your business challenges or those of the listeners now into scalable solutions, enhancing your growth, stability, and business valuation. Achieve predictable growth and operational excellence. Isn't that what we all want? Tell us more about your daily work, please.
My daily work. It's interesting because my daily work actually has a lot of facets. That's what I'm doing in my business is one part, but I see my role more as a mentoring role. I'm not into consulting. It's not that I work with a lot of companies. It's more like working with a handful a year. So what I'm doing is to help small and medium-sized businesses to stay up to date with all that's going on right now, with all technology, with systematization, to automatize their business, to not run out of business, because I see many, many dangers coming, especially with with AI, with artificial intelligence. And that's how I help those companies basically in partnerships.
Thank you so much for sharing. As I said, we met on TikTok, and I can highly recommend your TikTok videos. Please follow Kris on TikTok. And you know what? I have to tell you something. I got inspired by one of your advices. And what I did yesterday was I upgraded my ChatGPT account to the, I don't know how it's called, Pro or Plus, the paid version. And now a whole new world opened up. I created, you won't believe, no, it's true. I created images and banner and whatever. I played with it because it's also the playful aspect, let's say, to play with it, to see what's possible. Tell us what inspired you to do what you are doing now, to fall in love with AI technology, and to recommend to use it.
So after I exited my business, I had a pause, like 4 years that I didn't work. So I was focusing on other aspects of life. But then there was one part that I started to miss the logical, the rational work, that thinking, that strategic thinking, because that's one of my strengths, like the hyper focus that brought me up to build a company that is lean but big, small, lean company but big numbers. And I just love that. And now with AI, I just see a complete new world opening, because it changes how we make money. Before, we tried to make money with arbitrage. We bought services or products cheaper somewhere and sold it somewhere else more expensive, right?
Mhm.
And it's changed, because what's now the value, where it's coming from, is from compressing time. Like, you can do things that you need a week for in a day, but you charge the same prices. Why? Because you charge for the value, right? You don't trade your time for money. That's just not how success works. So you can build a business, it's highly profitable, you have more time, you don't burn out, you raise the company valuation, because now you can automatize it and it works without you. So imagine also that for people who want to exit their business one day, instead of having like 2, 3, 4 times the multiple on your profit, now you can have it 6, 7, 8, or even 10, 12 times, depends on what you're doing, right? And it's just so fascinating how nowadays you can compress time. And that's why I'm so passionate about bringing that into businesses.
Yes, you mentioned the word passion, and to be passionate about something. And I think this is the secret ingredient to why to start a business, because if you are lacking passion, then it will not last long enough. My next question is, who inspires you in general, and who was the best coach you ever had? Do you have coaches and mentors for yourself?
Tough question. They changed, they changed because I think there's no person on earth that can stay your coach. If that's the case, if you have a coach for 10 years, there's something that's not how it should be. Because at one point you will always see the weaknesses in those people and you overgrow them, you outgrow them. So that needs to change. That's why I had different coaches, but I outgrew them all the time. I became like better in those areas, no matter if it's business, if it's meditation, if it's inner work, if it's, like different kind of things. It's just, I think now what leads me is intuition. It's my biggest coach, and I see you mentioned so many books, so many sources. You ask me if I read that, if I read this, and I'm like always, I cannot read that much. I'm not that reader. I don't even have the focus and patience. Where I'm getting my information from is from inside, And that's what inspires me, just life itself, by breathing, by seeing the light. Because after I had this death experience, I realized a lot about life, And since then, what's leading me is really inspiration. Now I know what it means. Everybody says, listen to your body, listen to your intuition, das Bauchgefühl in Germany. I don't know the English word for that. But that's the main part that's communicating now. And that's also where I got information and creativity from. And that's what's really what I'm passionate about, also to understand about that. And the reason, that's a good point that now comes up based on your question, why I'm also so passionate about business is because it helps me to balance out all of that mystic world, all of that spiritual, emotional world where normally entrepreneurs don't look at it. They are just focused, hyper-focused, money, success, title, status, the same how I was before I had the big crash. But now I see that you need both sides to live a life in real wealth, because what's the point making money and you're emotionally debt or in debt? You need both. And that's what inspires me, really. It's life itself. It's just life itself. I have no plans. I don't know how long I will do it. I don't know what's next, It's just I try to live in the moment as much as I can.
Oh, I love that answer. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, what you mentioned was, your intuition, you trust your gut feeling, and most of the people don't. And we are raised in that, I would say, masculine energy. And you mentioned we always need both the giving part, the doing, and also the receiving. You receive ideas. And when I may quote Dr. Joe Dispenza, not quoting, but he says we create from the void, from when there's nothing from the no thing we create. And when you don't give yourself 30 minutes per day or more to go into the stillness and to receive the answers you are seeking for, then what is life? It's like a wheel of, how do you call it, Hamsterrad in the 9 to 5 hustle or grind, or I don't know the words exactly. We don't want that anymore. And thank you for mentioning. My next question is, how do you inspire other people?
Tough questions. How do I inspire people? I think by showing them what's possible, by showing them what's real, and by showing them that really anything can be real as long as you can speak it out. But most of the time we can't. And what I'm trying to do now is to share all the information that I receive without a filter. You see me on TikTok, I'm saying things that are so controversial to everything what's going on right now. And sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying. I look at the video afterwards and I said, whew, tough. But I think that's how I inspire people, by just saying things that I think or feel. I try to translate emotion into language and share it. And I don't know if it's true, I think that everybody can feel if it's true for themselves and build their own reality based on that. And what I want to do now is to bring more out, provide more value to the people. Also, what I'm doing is, for example, volunteering. I'm volunteering in the United States. I help small and medium-sized businesses to grow and scale on a volunteering base. It's not a partnership, right? Where I'm really in the business and help them to build it. It's more like showing people the path. And I think that's also one of the part on how I inspire. It's like sharing, stories and the translation of flowing emotions. I know it sounds abstract, but that's what I do.
It isn't, because you can see money as energy as well, or as a effect. It's an effect. It's like it comes at the end. You don't focus on money. You focus on the giving value, providing value. You mention it, and I love that you are doing. You call it volunteering. It's like you give, you act from your intuition, and it's always right. You can trust that feeling and your inner voice. I love that. It's an example. And when I watch your TikToks, I have the impression it's like, yeah, you are guided. You are totally guided to put the message out. You can call it channeling as well, but this is the spiritual woo-woo stuff. Some people don't like the impression. A long time I was that rational girl in numbers and accounting, 32 years of my life, and and nothing
Wow.
was what I couldn't see, I did not believe in, so to say, and this came afterwards. My next question is, what are your gifts and talents?
I think things like what people say are diseases are gifts, are my gifts. I don't want to talk now about diseases itself. I will talk about a few symptoms. And those symptoms, for example, are hyperfocus. That you can go deeply into something and learn nearly everything about it, in a really, really fast time. Of course, it has a price, because if you go into the hyperfocus, you come out in chaos and you think, oh shit, my office, look how it looks, all my stuff, and da-da-da. Yeah, it's also something to master. But I think that's a gift. My weaknesses that I thought are weaknesses are actually gifts, because not many people have them, and I can, the ones who have it, they don't think it's gift. They think it's happens against them. They take pills and all kind of stuff to control those things. And therefore I think that's a big gift and benefit. Another one is that it's like I can zoom out. I can zoom out of not just business, but also what's going on, kind of out of reality, to see things from a different perspective, to see what's coming next, And that's also why I decided to go into mentoring those few companies, to partner with them, because that's one of my great assets, I think, that I just can see what's coming, where people are, I don't know, not aware of it or don't want to see it. And another one is to be honest with myself, see my weaknesses, see where my limitations are, and accept them, and also receive feedback. I'm not in the defensive position anymore where I was, and I think that's really a gift, So
Yes, you talked about, was it defensive position? The word you use, defensive, it's like a survival mode. So you want to protect something and you don't need that anymore.
exactly.
I love what you said about a survival mode. This is the reptile brain and the amygdala, and she's always she's always protecting. And you mentioned as well, and I have to keep this thought, because this is really amazing. You talked about hyperfocus, and at the same time, the other polarity of zooming out and seeing the whole picture. And for me, I had an aha moment. I think it has to do, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but for me, it makes sense when you tell me you are in the now moment. Maybe it is you are in that now moment, and this gives you the ability to go into that hyper focus and also to zoom out. Because when there are people, totally distracted all the time.
I mean,
This attention period of 20 seconds we have now. And
yeah,
then they always, and you talked about distraction in your last, the TikTok I just watched. And there was another thought. And wow, I love this podcast so much because it's like a mastermind. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
How I live life nowadays is to follow what excites me the most. That's what I'm doing, And before I focused on money, I wanted, I don't know, this and this millions, and then that exit, and then da, 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 da. But it doesn't make sense because then you have all of that, but you don't have the other parts. And why do you want all of that money to feel something? But what if you cannot feel anymore because now you cut it yourself off? You live here instead of here, so you have all, but you have nothing. So it makes no sense. It's a pretty disadvantaged way. And when I'm living in the moment because I'm following my excitement, I think that's where the gifts come because I'm living my dream. I'm living the things that I'm excited about. I do just the things that I love to do. And what life gives you is, in this case, like creativity. It gives you luck, aka synchronicity. You start to receive things from people. They are helping you in a way out of nothing. You exchange something, they give you something, like things happen to you because in the English, it's called present, right? It's a present. But what is this present for? And I think the present is for the dream. But for the dream to receive the present, you basically need to be in dreamland. And where's the dreamland? It's now. And if dreamland is now and you follow your excitement because you do what you love to do and you are not lost into things because you now can zoom out and see the patterns and see the dangers of both sides, business and spirituality, materialism and immaterialism, then you can navigate in a way through it that you receive those gifts because those gifts are the ones you need to stay in your dreamland and live your dream and get always a chance to do what excites you the most in life. And that's what it's about for me, to be in that state. Doesn't matter if I get 10 million or I don't know, 50K, like from a partnership. It's not that. It's about being able to just live that life. That's it about. Not tomorrow. It's now, right? Heaven and earth happens now, not in the future.
That's so true. I have a lot of thoughts about it. When you talked about money, I learned the last month that most people identify with money or their bank account, and it is when you buy material things is to avoid feeling your feelings because it's like you compensate it or you with something else. You are distracted. We are again at the distractions. And when you leave that by the side, you leave it and you feel your feelings. As you said, you are in that bliss. We call it bliss, right? The bliss, the most excited, high frequent state of creativity, gratitude and love, the bliss. And if you obtain this, the highest frequency, then nothing can happen to you, no matter how your bank account. You mentioned it in one of your TikToks that when you lose everything, then you know how to build it as new. You have
Doesn't
confidence.
Life gives you everything you need all the time. Life is abundant. This fake system that we have lets us think it's not. And this is what I mean with distractions. Like 9 years ago, I talked about it the first time that Facebook, everybody's scrolling through Facebook timeline. That's like micro procrastination that's happening there. And nowadays that's called micro learning. So basically people think it's good, but it's exactly the opposite. And it's crazy because life is easy as never before. Business is as easy as never before. And people don't see it because they're distracted. And that's why most businesses, and we will see it pretty soon, will be destroyed because people cannot see how it is. And the ones who can, they will outperform them. And this will change everything. This will create a new order,
Yes.
Huge.
Thank you so much for pointing this out and to summarize it, because that way we don't have to watch your TikToks in 2 times speed anymore. You can listen to this podcast over and over again because there were so many nuggets in it. My next question is, and I know the answer already, but I will ask for our audience. Do you set goals for yourself or intentions? And what is one of your goals for 2024?
I set goals, but they're not always time-based. I let things happen. I said, for example, now this week what I'm doing right now in these 2 weeks, this week and next week, is I want to build like a small business, like just for fun, and launch it after 2 weeks. Just as a case study, basically, because I'm talking a lot about things, but I love to put my money and my efforts and my time where my mouth is. And therefore, that's like something where I use, like, of course, goal setting practices like Smarter, where you can really break things down. You have your goal, you break them down into steps, and you know what your life is on a daily basis about. Actually, I'm having here right now, here something like that I use, of course, to work with goals too. But it's not like where do you see yourself in 5 years? I have no idea. I have no freaking idea where I see myself in 5 years. So or also meditation. I'm doing it for the reason of doing it. Or TikTok. I'm doing it because I just feel that I want to share it. I don't know. I don't need to go to 10 million followers or something. I don't know what's coming out. I just let the unknown happen. But then again, when it comes to the material world, to the material side, when it's about business, that's where I set, of course, goals, especially also when I work with clients or when I work like in my business that I just mentioned now as an example. That's where you need goals, because otherwise, how do you know what to do? So you need both. You need the rational, but you also need the emotions. You need to find a way to combine it to be successful at the end.
That's so true. Yeah, let's see the aspect of measuring it. You can measure it. Yeah, goals. Yes. And my last question for today is, when people reach out to you after listening to this podcast episode, how can they help you with? And do you have special offers and services for the Inspired podcast community?
How can they help me with? How can they help me?
Yeah. What do you need? Ideas?
I don't know how they can help me at the moment, to be honest. It's like I have everything. I have everything I want, I ever wanted. I just have everything. Like I can, for example, contacts. What for? To get reach. For reach, I can just pay. I mastered that business game in a way that you can do all of that thing. So it's tough. It's tough to answer. I don't know. I don't know at the moment what I need, if I need anything. So, and special offer, I think to have the opportunity to work together, to figure out how we can work together, is pretty special, because it's not a business that I will scale up and bring out. If people who are listening to podcasts are probably a few ones who even get the idea that there's more, they get the idea of what's coming, and we can look at their business, have a call and map things out. And I think that alone will help them already to see the opportunities and the constraints, and from there on we can see what we can do. And I think that's basically the offer is visibility to the contact, just to have the opportunity to go that way. Because honestly, I was wondering, who are the people nowadays that can help businesses with those things? Because I think they need to be young, they need to have some experience, they need to have enough willpower, enough focus power, and those things to find are pretty rare. So I think the offer is let's have a talk. Let's see what we can do together. I think that's the most I can offer.
Oh, I love that so much, and I will put the link in the show notes. Of course, please reach out to Kris. He's amazing. Check out his TikTok. Follow him on TikTok. There's so much content in it. And now is time for your last message to the audience, please.
So you see now the changes in the world. You see the wars. You see the separation. You see those ridiculous things that happen, and you see what's happening with the money printing financially. Everything is changing, and many people are afraid of it. Is there a new pandemic? Is there a war? Is there financial reset? Is there a great reset? Is there, so many things? But I think what people should know is that we are just in front of a new summer for humanity. So all that looks now really dangerous and scary is at the end a gift. And I think things will work out amazing as soon as you trust it and don't resist, because the resistance, it's what will create a lot of suffering. But if you let it happen and you trust it, you will see that the intelligence, that AI, I don't think it's artificial, will work at the end for you if you let it, and if you try to connect more with yourself and go that work. And even if you don't believe in that, I understand, we in the business world, in the hyper rational world, it's just, we are fighting it, but that's a war that we need to go through, to see the other side, to see both sides, to try to manage it. And at the end, as you said, let it happen and trust the process. Things will work out really amazing. We are just in front of summer.
Yes. Thank you so much for this message. Let this sink in, dearest audience, and listen to it again. This was the best episode I ever recorded. Thank you so much, and see you.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
Thank you. See you soon.